Hey guys, Chris and Shlomo here. Today we're going to be talking about website redesigns and all the pitfalls that go into that. So as a preface, we're going to start off by saying basically we get lots of phone calls here at Web Mechanics that one of the first things they ask us is like, hey, we just redesigned our website, ... Right? And like we already know like where that conversation is going, because typically people redesign their websites, what is it, like every 2 to 3 years?
2-3 years, yeah.
And when that happens, they usually call us. They go for this new fancy design. They have whatever reason they're doing it, and they call us, and then they're like, "Hey, like our traffic tanked, our conversion rate tanked. We thought we were creating this new beautiful website, and we were going to see huge sales projections. Everyone was all excited. They got the executive team excited, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's like everything goes to hell, like all the way down." So, Chris. What, from an SEO perspective, what are the biggest risks when it comes to redesigning your website, and how do you mitigate those risks while redesigning?
Yeah, so there's a lot of risks SEO-wise, and really I think that the traditional redesign process is broken from an SEO angle. So like one piece of advice, like if you get a lot of SEO traffic, if you don't get a lot of SEO traffic, forget about it. Like just do whatever you want. You're not getting much traffic anyway. But if you currently do get a lot of SEO traffic, there's a few different ways to skin the cat. First off, you want to select a firm who knows SEO. And the unfortunate fact is that every single design firm pretty much on the entire planet will be like, yeah, sure, we know SEO. We'll take care of that piece. And then there's also this rumor, a lot of design firms that we've sold against, I know, will say something, they'll tell their clients to expect a dip in traffic, but that it'll come back once Google figures it out and re-indexes it. That doesn't have to happen. So the main things that you want to do when redesigning a website from an SEO perspective, look at analytics, because the fact is that probably 20% of your keywords are driving 80% of your traffic, or at least 80% of your conversions. Similarly with landing pages, like usually 20% of your pages are actually pulling the lion's share of traffic. So a quick, easy kind of just like poor man's way to do it is just to identify that 20% of really high value keywords and that 20% of really high value landing pages, and just make sure to accommodate for those. Make sure, if possible, just don't change them. If you can make 0 changes and not really mess with the information architecture or the navigation, that's the best case scenario. But unfortunately, that oftentimes, when people are redesigning, they want to make changes. So if I could give one piece of advice, is just to at least know what those highly important keywords and pages are, and then make a plan for them. If you need to redirect the pages, use 301s. Make sure that the page titles and the other metadata port over as close to how they are currently as possible. But that's not the only thing that's broken. Like the SEO process in a redesign is very well broken. I can't tell you how many calls I've gotten that are like, oh my God, we just redesigned it, and I can't even find us on Google. I can't find, I'm typing in my own name there, I'm not even showing up on Google. And we are able to fix those in a lot of cases, but sometimes the problem runs deeper when you shoot yourself in the foot conversion-wise. A lot of times simple, plain, ugly sites just work from a conversion angle in certain industries for one reason or another. So Shlomo here is a master at conversion rate optimization. Talk to us about some of the blunders and sort of tips around that.
Sure. So similar to SEO, like a lot of times people redesign and they don't think about SEO in the redesign. Their 301 redirects are not in place. They're, like you said, their pages are completely revamped, new content, Google doesn't recognize them. But there's a whole nother element when it comes to redesigns, and that is conversion, right? So imagine a company is getting a 3, 5, 10% conversion rate, and they redesign. And one of the main keys, initiatives and goals in redesign is typically to be able to get higher conversions.
Yeah, and just define conversion in case anybody's...
Yeah, so conversion, for example, on a B2B site would be a lead submission, form submission, or a phone call. On an e-commerce site, it would be a transaction, a sale. So typically they'll think, people typically think that if you make a prettier website, then you get more conversions. Sure. And that's what the conventional wisdom will tell you. However, I can't even tell you how many times people redesign their website. They hire this really expensive branding firm. They rebrand a beautiful new website, and then boom, they hit it, and like their conversion rate drops.
Yep.
And the reason for that primarily is because when they're doing a conversion, when they're doing a redesign, they're not redesigning based on problems that users are having. Now, they don't understand that typically, like on your website, your visitors don't necessarily have a problem with your website per se.
Yeah.
They might not have an issue. They might actually like your website. It might not look amazing. Your competitors might have more flash and a nicer banner or like better whatever it might be, but they don't necessarily have a problem with your website. So you go and you take something that's a non-problem and you start trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist. You're going to end up, upsetting them, and they're not going to end up converting. So what we do always in a redesign is prior to redesigning, we do a conversion audit, and we find out what are the biggest problems that our users are having on the website.
Yeah.
The way we do this is by looking at Google Analytics, heat mapping tools. We do some live user testing, get a real feel for how the customers are interacting. Once you know what the real problems are, you bake that into your redesign, and then your new website is not only looking better, but it's actually solving problems that were existing on your old website.
Yeah.
So don't fix something that's not broken.
So you find the truth empirically.
Yeah.
Right. And now I'll tell you guys one thing. The redesign process is broken right now, both from an SEO and a conversion perspective. Because here's how it works in most cases. You've got these brilliant designers who know a lot about web design and maybe even a little bit about usability, and they've got a whole bunch of ideas that they're feeding into this executive team or this whoever's on the client side. Now, these people are brilliant at business. They know everything that there is to know about their industry, but they don't know a dang thing about web design or what works online. And so what happens is these two parties kind of go at it and they come to some resolution that they can both agree on, but it's usually like some Frankenstein twist where it's not really accentuating all of the best parts of either. And then none of them are SEOs, none of them are CROs, there's no data involved, so it's just a guessing game. But there is a way that you can perform a redesign, you can increase conversion rates, and improve SEO. You just got to do it scientifically. You got to have empirical data. I think that's like a trend for most of us is having empirical data.
Just leveraging the data that's going on with your current site and using that and informing the redesign with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all from us.
All right.
Chris Mechanic,
Shlomo Trachtenberg,
Web Mechanics.